Hello, Adam Bazalgette here, founder of Scratch Golf Academy. Today, the simple technique that makes fairway woods and hybrids easier to hit. We're going to show you two impact conditions you must meet. Obviously, there's more to a golf swing than just impact, but we're going to look at those, and I'll give you some drills and images that I think will help you get the right feel. Well, that was a hybrid shot there. So let's talk about the two things you really need if you're going to do well with your fairway woods and hybrid. Number one, you need a solid hit. If you don't hit it pretty squarely, you're not going to get good results. And these are a little tricky, not much loft, no tee under the ball. Number two, of course, you need some ball speed. You need to compress that ball a little bit. And for some people, if they have low swing speeds, a 3-wood, unless the ball's really sitting up, just doesn't launch high enough for them to use well. But that's a decision you'll have to make for yourself. So regards number two, ball speed, you are not going to compress that ball well unless you have some bend between your trail arm, if you like, in your trail wrist and your club. If you're hitting it this way, unless you've just got 10 tons of speed, you won't compress it efficiently. Number one there in terms of solid hit, we have to have the club pretty level for a while in order to hit this. It's a little bit different to a short iron. Let me show you close up, and you'll get a sense of why these clubs should be hit and the ball position should be a bit different than a short iron. So simple techniques that make these fairway woods and hybrids easy to hit, understanding the design of the club. Here's a 9-iron, sweet spot's going to be about there. You can see if I don't have some forward lean, I'm not really getting that sweet spot on the golf ball. That's going to cause some downward hit. With the 3-wood, however, it's pretty much leaning because of the lack of loft. It's pretty much leaning on the right on the sweet spot without the forward lean. So maybe a tiny bit, but you get too much forward lean here, you won't flight the ball very well.
So ball position a little bit forward, I would recommend that for a reasonably strong player. There's a decent backswing. Notice the downswing is initiated with the lower body, and there is hip turn, but there is also some of that lateral hip component, that weight shift element. And if my head stays as it does reasonably there, fairly still, that's going to allow me to tilt a little bit away from the target with my spine and create a very nice level sort of a hit at the bottom. You can see there as the ball's leaving the club face, the club shaft is just about vertical, which is what you want. Still some angle though between trail arm and club, compressing the ball and through into the finish.
So trail right wrist, look at a baseball player, a tennis player, just take a golf club, put it up on a jaw jam and push. You see how much more efficiently you can bend the shaft this way than this way. That's why we need that. But as we showed you a minute ago, you don't want a lot of forward shaft lean. Now, if you've got a lofted fairway wood or a lofted hybrid and you've got a very tight lie, you will need a little bit of forward shaft lean to tilt the club on the ball. We're talking medium lies here, somewhat less lofted clubs. So what we have to have, and you saw this in slow motion a little bit, ball position is certainly a factor. You can play it a little bit more forward. That gets rid of some of the shaft lean. But you have to have some drive this way of the hips because that tilts the spine back. Now my weight is forward. My weight's to the left side there. My head is steady, but that tilts the spine back and that helps me get rid of some of that shaft lean while still maintaining this bend. So let's have one quick look from here and we'll get to our drill, see if we can help you out with this. So as we look briefly from this view, one thing that will really ruin the quality of your fairway wooden hybrid play is steepness. That is to say, clubs too vertical, clubs too much in front of you. First off, you'll probably slice the ball or pull it. Secondly, it crashes the club down towards the ground. And while certainly good motion in the hips and the stuff we talked about from in front will help, it probably won't on a consistent basis overcome that. So it's very important that part of good fairway wood play is the club comes more from behind your back shoulder, more on the sort of plane it's designed to. Remember, we're not trying to swing way out to right field. We're just trying to come from a good, decent, shallow plane to the back of the golf ball. Okay, drill. Now the human mind is incredible with tools and objects without a lot of coaching. So if I gave you a paintbrush, gave you a golf setup, and there was a bench about the little bit lower than your hand, I said, I want a nice long stripe. Keep your head still, but keep the paintbrush on there. Make us a long stripe. I doubt seriously you just flick paint up in the air and need a lesson on ulnar deviation. You can figure that out a little bit. That's basically what we're trying to do here. And of course, as I like to help people do it on a scale you can feel it. So what we're going to do, we'll start, this is a hybrid here. We'll start with a little preset, hands slightly forward, but I've got my spine tilt and just make some very small swings. I can feel the bend in the right wrist. And what you're going to feel as your belt buckle drives forward and slightly up, you'll actually feel the handle, which should happen raise a little bit. It should be arcing up. If the right wrist is bent and the handle's going down, you're going to jam the club in the ground. So let's try one more preset. That's the feeling I want right there. And then gradually I can make a little bit bigger swing or a little bit more energy from a more neutral setup and try to feel that same thing. Again, paintbrush on the ground is what I'm looking for. That was a good one there. I should do this drill, I think, a little bit. We'll add one more thing in a moment. I'm just telling you, though, if you would do this at home a little bit and just get all the thinking out of your head, the concepts are fairly simple. Grab the club 2-3 times a week for 2 minutes on the carpet. Start making some little strokes where you can keep the club on the ground, keep the wrist bent, but at the same time feel belt buckle and handle rising. So I've got that nice level hit. It isn't that difficult to do. Keep at it. You can help yourself. One more small one. That's the feeling I want. And then finally, not just adding lots of speed, but if you're really going to launch this ball, you need more than just a good impact. You need a little bit of club head speed, bigger swing, but you start to do this where there's a little more play in the wrist. As I get through there, then there's some release on this side. Let's try one on a fairly small scale. Sure I'm lined up, so we'll go back, but we're going to add a little bit. There's a little bit more pop in the club there. I hit fractionally behind it, but because it's so level at the bottom, it was fine. And so on till I can feel a little more gathering, solid hit, but without costing me club head speed there. That was a pretty solid one. I hope this helps you. They're very important clubs for most people. Most people don't drive it where they have 9 irons to the green all day, so work on this. Hope you make progress.